Hello everyone, welcome to the weekly video again. As usual, we are going to talk about the US indices and then we're going to zoom into the Singapore market. Okay, so just to follow up on the US Dow, last week I mentioned that if the rebound don't go past this gap and it doesn't hit the resistance, it probably will be a dead cat bounce. So fortunately, the Dow managed to rebound and then retest its resistance. So this resistance seems to be a hard nut to crack because as of now, the US futures is red. So we are going to see how the Dow will close because if it doesn't were to close above this resistance, probably there might be more pullback. But if tonight it can close above 35085, then we are looking at a new all-time high and there might be some more upside going forward. Okay, so the more exciting one that I just want to share is that our S&P 500 has finally hit our target. Okay, so this target, remember, I have set this videos ago, and then here we have seen S&P 500 touch 4414 resistance level as per what the projection was. Okay, so as of now, again, the futures is red. Seems like it's pulling back from the high, well, which is very normal because profit taking is very normal at the high. But the good thing here is that if it can hit the all-time high and stays above 4390 level, there might be chance for the S&P 500 to hit even higher. So how high is going to go if the market remains bullish? Well, this is where we have seen the upside happens. And of course, now I'm going to adjust it. I'm going to adjust it a little bit more. And if the S&P 500 were to continue higher, while the next target is going to be another 51 points, oh sorry, 151 points, and it will be around 4542. Well, seems to be a very far target to look at, but nevertheless, it's just a target for us. If the S&P were to continue to go higher, that would probably be the ultimate target. Nasdaq 100 all-time high over here. That's pretty bullish. Four consecutive, or rather, four consecutive of upward movement. And what we would like to see next is that if the Nasdaq were to look at more upside, we probably will be looking at, well, if I were to use the same method for S&P 500, then the next level will be around 15439. Okay, but of course, that is a little bit far-fetched for now. The futures is currently red, and I'm not sure how it will pans out tonight. So it is still early to say whether the upward movement will continue or not for all the three indices because ultimately they have rallied for the past four consecutive days. So a small pullback or a quick pullback will be quite natural. So for the next few days, it's very important to take note of how the indices will close. Now tonight, one of the featured result is Tesla. So if you remember 2 weeks ago, I showed you the list of result announcement from Lim and Tan website. But unfortunately, the Tesla result was date was shifted, and tonight is the actual date. So what we could be looking at is that the market could have some volatility, right, pertaining to this kind of result announcement. So let's see how the market will react to Tesla's result. Now, let's look at the local market STI over here. The STI did not really do well today as it pulled back and give up its gains that it has garnered 2 days ago. Okay, primarily probably due to some of the bad news. One is that China, they have started to cramp down, or they are continuing to cramp down their online system. Now is they are targeting the the education. So first, the China government targeted the e-commerce, online e-commerce like Alibaba, etc. Then after that, we have seen the delivery like Titi. All these counters have been cramped down, and then of course now is the online educations where they have decided to turn it to non-profit. Okay, so well, it's some sort of affected the Singapore market. As we can see, the Hang Seng market dropped by more than 1,000 points. The Singapore market is actually down by 18 points, so not as bad. I do see some Singapore data was down by 3% or something like that, but how does it really affect us from the chart? Now we can see that it formed a new minor resistance at 3165 with a new minor support, which was formed a few days ago at 3107. Okay, so if you look at the bigger picture, STI is right now moving on a sideways. Okay, and then we are looking at if you were to ping pong between these two support level, this support level and this resistance level, then we may see the sideways continue into August or even September. So let's see how the index will pan out the next day. So if we continue to go down to test this 3107 support, so this is a sign of a sideways continuation. Now let's zoom into individual stocks and see how our stocks perform. Okay, so let's start off with the banks. So what do we have here? We have DBS. Okay, DBS has managed to rebound from its support level at 29.49 to hit this level high at 30.29. So it had a pullback today, and there's a potential chance that this 30.29 may be a minor resistance. Okay, so unless DBS can immediately break above 30.29 and then retest this resistance at 30.48, then the 30.29 resistance will still stand, okay, unless it will break that immediately. So as you can see, DBS seems to be moving in a sideways consolidated movement. And what we are going to see going forward is that if the bank decided to pull back at 29.49 support, pull back to test this support, then we may see sideways consolidation going on until the first week of August, when the banks start to announce their results. Then the market will start to find some momentum to push for new levels. OCBC is also moving on sideways. The major resistance is around 12.19, where OCBC didn't manage to test it in a recent run and then pull back, forming a minor resistance at 12.15. So if this pullback were to continue, the support to look out for is 11.80. So if OCBC and DBS continue its downward movement, STI is likely to continue lower as well. So similarly to UOB, okay, so we are looking at UOB. If it pull back immediately to test support at 25.48, then it will be quite tricky, because then we can start to see that every one of the banks, if they were to pull back, you realize that we have lower highs forming along the way. So no doubt the whole big picture looks like a sideways, but if within the sideways itself we see lower high, that is also a cause for concern, because that may be the sign of a development of a downtrend. So if we continue to see lower action, and especially when support levels are broken, so the last line of defense for UOB is around 25.32. If we were to break this defense, then we may see even lower action. Okay, And OCBC, the last line of defense is, the near one is 1169. Okay, the next major support after that will be 1156. Then, of course, DBS has 2949 major support. Then the last line of defense will be around 929.17. So when the banks go into downtrend, I don't see a reason that they should go into a downtrend, because if the result is going to be strong going forward, the bank should be able to sustain at the high. So let's see how the market develops going forward. Okay, and let's go to the tech. Okay, last week we talked about AEM. It was here, and we anticipated a rebound, and it did, but the rebound fell short as it did not manage to retest its resistance at 420 over here, and it pulled back for 3 consecutive days, forming a minor resistance at 416, which was the original resistance previously as well. So you can see this resistance over here. So now it forms a zonal resistance from 416 to 420. Now, it's also very tricky for AEM right now, as we can spot lower high over here. And with the stocks having a support at 4, if we were to retest this $4 and break below this $4, then we may see some short-term downtrend with the near-term support, horizontal support at about $3.83. Okay, so what is it going to be for AEM? So is this cast to stone? Well, if I were to show you Franken, you may think otherwise. All right, last week, if you remember, Franken was here. So we were still saying that it may is forming a lower high. But Franken had a very big U-turn, forming a long white candle over here with a very strong volume. This is a very bullish sign, because the candle pattern is suggesting a very bullish sign. I can't remember the name for this pattern, but when I see this kind of pattern, it is a very strong call to action. And Franken continue higher to close all-time high at 197. Wow, this is a very fantastic run for Franken. Let's see how far it can go. So if the previous action were to repeat itself again, let's see how far the Franken will move. Okay, so previously Franken had actually broken out from its high and then went 6.7 higher. So here we can see a potential movement that may continue towards 2.01 level. So also to note that 1.9 was the original target. So if you were to remain bullish and continue to go up higher, then 2.01 may be tested. Okay, UMS is a little bit quiet today as well, but nevertheless, what we are looking at is that it is very similar to AEM. Okay, we are looking at lower highs, and of course, if you were to break 157, there might be some short-term downtrend, but if it doesn't and break up, then like Franken, then we may see some more upward movement, with the immediate resistance likely to be broken at 165. So if you remember, last time I did highlight UMS projected target is 170. So will it hit 170 soon? So we shall see what happens going forward. Then we have let's talk about Nano first. Okay, Nano. I remember last week I talked about Nano, and then I actually had set a target for Nano at 670. Today, almost is there, almost. Okay, so it went as high as 6.67, just 3 cents short of the target 670. But nevertheless, it's a very strong movement and a very strong performance from Nanofirm. Ever since it announced the project collaboration with Temasek, where the country is developing the hydrogen economy. So this is where Nanofirm has managed to climb and scale new high. So let's see whether Nanofirm can continue the next day, or he decided to consolidate to move sideways before it break out again. Okay, so let's watch for Nanofirm. ISDN, well, we can see a pretty weak movement from ISDN over here as it struggled to rebound for the past few days of trading. Technically, we have seen this high, lower high, another lower high. So ISDN has a very crucial support at 71 cents. So once it breaks below 71 cents, then ISDN probably may go down lower. With the result already announced, so next is the market sentiment. So if the market sentiment remains bullish, maybe it can help ISDN to go higher. If not, probably ISDN has to pull back significantly lower before it garners strength to go even higher. Follow up on QN Dental, right? I did mention that if this long upper shadow can be negated, QN Dental can continue higher. So that was only halfway through. Okay, so what do I mean is that the market heard me open QN Dental significantly higher at 83, but it did not negate this upper shadow. Why? Because it closed the counter lower at 80.5. Okay, so this suggests more uncertainty. So this black candle suggests more uncertainty as the stocks continue to consolidate within 795 to 81815. So QN Dental, how is it going to be? If you look at the overall chart, well, the uptrend remains intact. Despite of this uncertainty, the consolidation seems to be going on, but there is still chance for QN Dental to move higher. Now it has a minor resistance at 83 cents to break, but it is still doable. Okay, so let's continue to watch out for potential movement from QN Dental. Next we have Del Monte Pack. Just like to talk about Del Monte Pack. Last week I mentioned that the uptrend remains intact. The stocks is almost to its resistance already. I mean that this candle doesn't look very positive. It is actually a sign of uncertainty. So let's hope that the next candle can help us to shed some light. If this candle open up at 445 and then close at 46, it suggests more bullishness to come. But if this candle open at 445 and then close at 43, probably Del Monte Pack is going to go for some sideways. But if I were to look at the trend itself, the trend is pretty nice with the nice uptrend channel over here. So we can see this counter, if it were to continue to test 46 or 465, it is really a very nice uptrend. So hopefully tomorrow will be a nice white candle. Moving on to the next two counters, I'm just going to cover this APAC Realty. So as I mentioned over here, we are looking at the support at these zones, but APAC did not actually go at this support, but it went down to test this lower support at around 7.1. Okay, and managed to form a hammer pattern. This hammer pattern requires a white candle confirmation, but today it is actually a black face. In the morning, there was some optimism, but the volume was really light. So I got some questions from people, and then they were asking me, hey, what do you think? Is the hammer confirmed already? So my answer to them is no, not yet. I'm just looking at the volume. The volume is very low. Seems like the market is not ready yet. So what happened is that if the market is not ready to go up, doesn't matter, let it slowly consolidate along this range, or go down a little bit lower before it starts to recover. So one thing to note is that um, the property market is still very strong. The volume is still very strong. So there is still chance for APAC to move higher. Same for Prodnex. Right, as you remember here, I do expect Prodnex to retest here, and then this is where we are looking at to ambush it. But as I was planning it, you can see that it today Prodnex did not perform well. The volume was light. No doubt it was positive in the early trading sessions, but the volume was pretty light. So again, my answer to the people is that we shall continue to wait for a clearer sign, then we enter. So if Prodnex doesn't rebound right away, let's see whether how it moves. So probably it consolidate within this range 188 to 196 before continuing higher. Okay. Next, I just like to touch on the transport sectors. Just now I read the news that our Mr. Lawrence Wong announced that published in the newspaper, it was published in the newspaper, announced that we are looking at reopening as early as August, and we are going to allow people who are fully vaccinated to come into Singapore or to travel without having the need of SHN. So with such a news, it may be a good news for the transport. Okay, with SIA closing strongly today with a nice white candle as SIA continue to move up to resistance. If the good news were to help SIA, we are likely to see the resistance at 507 to 518 getting tested again. Okay, then we are looking at SETS, which has a very good set of results as well. It announced a very good result and rebounded. So we can see SETS moving towards its resistance. So one of its resistance to note is this 397, which was a previous support term resistance, then followed by the next resistance will be 409. Okay, then we have ComfortDelGro, which is sitting at the support level right now, a major support. As you can see, this support is or was tested many times. Okay, then we have this downtrend channel support. So ComfortDelGro is sitting at a very, very strong support. So if we can rebound from this support level, it is definitely a very good sign. And 161 is the first target to break, followed by 167 and then 162. Then followed by SIA Engineering, which announced improvement in its result, and it is also sitting at its support level, which is the 200 DMA. As you can see from what I've highlighted, that it has been holding very well above this 200 DMA. So with the indicators are moving up as well, okay, with stochastic, as you can see, is turning up from the oversold with a bullish crossover, and then MACD has started to turn up. Then we want to see SIA Engineering close up strongly at 212 and break out from there to hit 223 level. So as such, if it can hit 223 level, it has a good chance to change its trend. All right. So this comes to an end to my video recording. I hope you enjoy it. I will see you next week. Have a good week ahead. Good day and good night.